Welcome to the drilling on the lathe video. Depending on the material you're drilling, stuff's going to change here. Today we're going to drill into metal, but if you're drilling into aluminum, the speeds are going to change. If you're using different size drill bits, the speeds are going to change. But this is going to talk about the basics. First of all, we're going to put a piece of material into the 3-jaw chuck. Once we put material into the 3-jaw chuck, we're not going to take it out until we're done all of the drilling. We want concentricity on it, meaning once it's in there, we don't want to take it out. 3-jaw chucks, they're good for quick and easy machining. But if we put a piece of material in and then take it out, when we put it back in, it may not be in the exact same position. Meaning when we go to drill another hole into that pre-existing hole, it might not be perfectly centered. So we're going to install it and we're going to leave it. So I'm going to take my piece of material in. Today, the piece of material we're drilling is this little hexagon for the foldable shovel. I'm going to come in. I'm going to place it in as square as possible to the chuck. I'm looking at the grooves on the inside of the chuck, giving it a little spin, trying my absolute best to get it in straight, making sure it's nice and tight. Chuck key, in, never leave it in like so, in, tight, remove it. We have these safety guards, they come down. The lathe will not turn on if it's not down. We still have good practice, we remove the chuck key. The very first hole we drill is always with a center bit. Okay, they're short, they're rigid. This one is covered with shavings. Okay, they don't flex very well. They're rigid. They will start a hole dead center into your material. They go into the tailstock. This guy over here. You're going to take the tailstock. You're going to back out the back wheel until whatever is in there, in this case the live center, ejects. Slide it forward. Hey, you can see the wheel. Back it out. The live center ejects. Put that somewhere where it's not going to fall off of the lathe and hit you in the toe. You're going to slide the Jacob's chuck in. It has a mortise taper. At a certain point, it should lock into place. Once it's locked into place, bring it good and close. Lock the tailstock into place. We have quite the gap here. You may not be able to feed the tailstock the full length into the material. If that's the case, you could bring the carriage forward, not to the point it's going to bump into the chuck, but that'll allow you to bring the tailstock closer, and then you could lock it into place. At this point, making sure everything's nice and clear, we can set our speeds. The center drill needs to run very fast. We're going to set the center drill up at 1100 RPM. You might look at a speed chart when you're drilling on the lathe and be like, hey, the lathe does not work at the exact speed I want to drill at. Okay, our lathe has 9 options for speeds. If you have 1,000 different drill bits, those 9 options might not work exactly how you want them to work. You need to kind of ballpark it. In this case, we're going to set it up to 1100 RPMs. So for me to achieve 1100 RPMs on this machine, I need to have my first lever at all the way to the left. I have to have my second lever at B. There we go. I now can turn on my machine. I need to walk around the camera. Oh dear. This is awkward. Who put this camera here? All right, I'm going to turn on the machine. I'm going to add a little bit of cutting oil. Feed it in. You only feed it in about 3/4 of the way. 3/4 of the way. Once you're done, back it out. Turn it off, wait for it to stop. Loosen the tailstock, back it out. Now, this is my drilling video. You could be drilling anything right now. We're making the nut for the shovel. You might be thinking to yourself, I'm making 2 nuts for the shovel. I should remove this one and center drill the other one. That way I don't have to change the bit. Don't do that. We want this one to be centric inside of the chuck. If I take it out, it won't be centric for the next hole. Leave it. I'm going to change the drill bit now. I could come with a chuck key and remove the drill bit and put in another size, but I was smart. I went and I put a different Jacob's chuck over there on the other side of the tripod with a different drill bit, but I messed up again and now the tripod's in the way. Ugh. Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to come once again, slide it in there, make sure it's locked in place, slide the Jacob's chuck in place. This time I'm going to set it to 770. For 770, I want to have my machine set to all the way to the left, over there, and to C. Like so. I want some oil. Boop, boop, boop. Like so. I'm going to keep that handy over here. I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to drill. I might want to put more oil on that. I'm all the way through. I'm going to back it off. I'm going to turn it off. There we go. I did another hole. I'm now going to back out. Remove that chuck. Now, I'm going to take my 11/16 drill bit. This time the Jacob's chuck's gone. I just have a mortise taper on this one. I'm going to slide it in. It's going to lock in place. Slide it forward. I'm now going to set my speed again. This time I want to set it to 400. To get 400, I want to have it set to the vertical setting and C. I want some more oil. Oh yeah. I'm going to turn it on. Smoking. Okay, turn it off. Loosen this. Back it out. I now have a hole drilled to 11/16 that is perfectly cylindrical to the chuck. That is drilling on the lathe.